Hey guys, welcome in to the Running for Life podcast. I'm your host Jack Stone, and today's going to be a fun day. I know I'm a little late for today's episode. It's supposed to come out a few days ago, but it's been a fun week. I'll cover all of it, and we'll have a fun time today. All right, so today we're actually going to be talking about the bad kind of consistency, which I've experienced a lot recently. This bad kind of consistency is not like you're being consistent and you're getting bad results, right? Because that's actually part of it. But you know what? I'm gonna just explain. All right. So the past few weeks, starting like mid-February, at like mid-February, I ran a 5:04 mile, and then I ran a 5:03 mile, and then a 5:04 mile, and then a 5:04 mile, and then a 5:04 mile, and then a 5:05 mile, and then a 5:04 mile. And it just never got better. It was stuck right there for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was not fun. I'm going to be honest. I got really close to giving up because I didn't see any progress happening, right? I was stuck at that exact same time for way too long than I wanted to. Here's the thing, though, is that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And here's how I know that. Because last week on Friday, I ran a 4:58, and I've officially now broken 5, and I'm done with the 5:04s and the 5:05s and the 5:03s, and all of those times, they're all gone. We're sub 5 now, baby. Let's go. But yeah, kind of just like relating that back to life like we always do here, right? Sometimes you aren't going to get the results that you want. You're going to be kind of stuck in that same spot. You aren't going to really see any progression. But you just got to remember to keep going, because if you quit, then you aren't going to go anywhere either way, right? You aren't going to keep progressing if you just quit. But if you decide, hey, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep going, because I believe that I can keep going. I believe that there will be a time that I progress. Then you'll do so much better if you go into life like that, right? Because one of our biggest sayings here, life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And hey, look, in a sprint, you got to be able to adjust like mid-race as fast as possible, right? You have to be progressing a lot. In a marathon, though, you could go from running, for example, you could go from like a 10-minute first mile, and then you can kind of shift throughout the run, right? You could have like the first 5 miles be 10 minutes, next 5 miles be 9 minutes, right? And you can kind of just slowly get there. And progression doesn't always come just like you're turning on the light in a dark room, right? It's not just going to pop up where like you immediately get your goals. If life was like that, then we'd have a bunch of people. Everybody would be running 4-minute miles. Everybody would be driving Ferraris. Everybody would be doing all of these crazy things. But we can't. Like, that's not how life works, right? You got to be having those, like, that little progression. And sometimes, yeah, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck in those hard times. But hey, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Because at some point in that time, you're going to say, hey, I want to give up. But guess what? If you don't give up, you're going to do just fine. You're going to do just fine. And you're going to progress. You're going to learn from the hard times. I learned a lot about my mentality in these past few weeks, not being able to go faster than a 5:04, right? I learned a lot about myself in those few weeks. A lot about how I need to run my races, a lot about my strategy. Actually, speaking of strategies, I was talking to one of you guys, one of the listeners. He told me he wanted to hear about kind of a strategy, like break down my race. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna break down my race on Friday. So we're gonna start with the preparation, right? I honestly didn't prepare as much as I probably could have. But that's one of the things that I think helped me the most was that I wasn't like focusing on it a lot. I was telling myself this is just a 4x400 meter workout, right? 4x400 meters at goal mile pace, no rest, 0 seconds rest, right? And that mentality going into the race made it so much better because then I wasn't worried about, oh crap, I need to perform super well or like this and this are gonna happen. No, it was this is a 4x400 meter, like this is a 4x400 meter workout, and all I have to do is just hit my times on those 400 meters, right? It's not that hard. I can hit my times. I've hit my times. In the past, I've done that during workouts like every single week, and I'll have minimal rest, right? I'll have a minute of rest and I'll go run the times that I need to on like these 400 workouts. And so I kind of went into the race with that mentality, just like this is just a workout. Just keep that in your mind. This is just a workout. You'll be fine. And so I went into it and I kind of followed that. I was like, all right, let's start out and let's just go. So yeah, but now in race, right? So I got up to the line and I was the like all the way on the outside. I think I was like almost dead last in my heat. I was all the way outside. And so the gun went off and I started going. Um, what I kind of told myself was don't go out too fast because what I've learned about myself, and you guys can learn this about yourselves as well, um, like figure out a strategy that works for you. But what works for me is passing people because for some reason I don't do it often. I'm usually the one getting passed because I go out way too fast. But for whatever reason, I would say, I'm not trying to be prideful here, but I would say I'm pretty good at passing people. Like I have a strategy to it. So I was like, all right, don't go out too fast. Just pass people. Like that's your whole goal this race. So I didn't go out too fast. I guess I like the first 75 meters I went out too fast, and then I kind of settled back, let a few people pass me so that I could, you know, go from there passing people. And so I passed a few people, and then I got passed a few times, and I went into that. And I, like I said, happy ending for that, right? I went sub 5, but that was one of my strategies was pass people, right? So I went out and started going, right? And I kind of just held to it. I didn't let go of the pace that I was trying to hit. I was really tempted to go faster, like go out faster, try to like kick early, right? Because I had one of my teammates in there, and as much as I love my teammates and I want to see them do good, I never want to see them beat me, right? That's just kind of how it works. Your you never want to see your teammates beat you, but you always want to see them do good. Um, so he was out in front of me, and I was like, oh dang it, I can't let him beat me. But I was like, no, 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 no. He can beat you. Run your own race. Run your own race. Right? It's the same with life there, right? You aren't what other people are doing isn't going to be the same as what you're doing. Right? They're going to have different goals. He had a different goal than me. He'd already gone sub 5. I hadn't. So he was going to go and he was going to try to run his best race. So I was like, okay, I'll go and I'll try to run my best race. And my best race at the time was a sub 5 mile. And so that's kind of what I went into it thinking. But I kind of held back the first 2 laps, and then I decided, all right, now it's time to start moving, right? So I started moving. I passed a few people, a few more people on the 3rd lap, and then I started hearing some of those cheers a little bit more clearly as I was coming down the home stretch on that 3rd lap, right? Just one more lap. And I was like, all right, it's time to move. It's time to freaking go. So I started going. I started going all out. And like a few weeks ago, I think we did this workout where it was 500 meters. It was one of the reps was 500 meters, and you were supposed to go at your goal mile pace and then kick at the end of it. So it was pretty much like that last lap of your race, right? And I kind of treated it like that. I was like, all right, this is just a 500. Go, let's go. All right, you can kick at the end. So I started going all out, right? I started pushing myself. I passed a few more people on that home stretch, went into the turn, passed a guy, and then back on that back stretch, passed another guy, went into the curve. And I glanced up at the clock because it was just right there. And I glanced up at it and I saw I have 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And I think I had 150 meters left. And I was like, okay, 30 seconds and I make it. 30 seconds and I can do it. And so I kind of started moving. I started going all out. And hey, I made it. I made it in time. But that was one of the things was I didn't base it off of for like those most of the time those last few like those last 300 meters. I'm like, all right, no, I have 300 meters left. Come on, you've done 300 meters. And I'm like, all right, you have 200 meters. You can make it 200 meters, right? All right, 100 meters. You can make it 100 meters. You've done 100 meters. But instead, I did the time, right? I was like, all right, you have 30 seconds. Go. Because I knew I've done 200 meters in under 30 seconds. I can do 150 in under 30 seconds or at exactly 30 seconds. So that's what I did. I went out and I was like, all right, it's time to start moving. So I went and I went all out trying to cross that finish line. And I got out and I crossed the line and my coach he's telling everyone good job and he yells at me and says 458 Jack, you did it. And that was probably like the happiest I've honestly like ever been. That was a big moment and I just screamed. I was pretty dead, but I just got up and I just screamed, yes! Right? I was so happy that I had finally done it, finally gone sub 5, because that's been one of my goals for a year and a half now. Is I like that was my big goal was I need to go sub 5, and I finally did it. But yeah, like I said, strategy is a big portion of that. Is like I had that strategy going into it. I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So you want to be prepared going into a rough situation, right? Let's say that you have a coworker you don't necessarily like at work, right? I've definitely had my share of those. And you kind of go into it and you're like, I really don't want to be here with this person, right? But you could either not prepare and you could end up like, it could end up being like a terrible time for you. Or you can kind of wait. You can give yourself a little bit of time. You can prepare a little bit. You'll be like, all right, this will be my strategy. Maybe you decide, hey, I'm going to avoid them, not like in a mean way, but maybe I'll just like avoid them in a way. Or maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll, when I can see myself getting, starting to get a little heated, or when I see myself not really wanting to be in the conversation, right? Or like when I see, like, yeah, when you see yourself getting heated or something, just like, oh, sorry, I got to go on this call, right? That could help you out a lot. But but your strategy shouldn't take you out of the uncomfortable, though, because the uncomfortable is what makes us grow. If we stay in our comfort zone, it actually shrinks. I can't like cite my source here, but the longer that you're in your comfort zone, just kind of there, the more that you like the smaller it gets, the less that you are comfortable to do, right? So you want to get out of that comfort zone. You want to go and you like, you want to go and you want to run that you want to go run that sub 5 mile, right? Or you aren't going to be able to run a sub 5:10 or sub 5:15, sub 5:30, right? It's all, your comfort zone may get smaller if you don't get out of it. Yeah, and it's kind of the same, going back to that coworker analogy, right? If you don't like talk to them at least once, right? Like just not friendly hello every time that you see them or something, that'll work. Keep yourself out of your comfort zone though. Like you want to make sure that you aren't staying outside your comfort zone. That's unhealthy. But you want to make sure that you have a healthy balance, right? Where you're going out of your comfort zone, because that's how you grow. That's how you get better at running, and that's how you get better at life. All right, guys. So thank you for listening to today's episode. As always, please, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Of course, share the video. It can help us out a lot. I guess it can help me out a lot. Let me know, what would you like to hear, right? What do you need to hear from me? Because I may not be able to answer all your questions, but I can try my best, right? I'll put some real research, some real effort into it. So comment below if you're on YouTube. What do you want to hear from me? I love that feedback. If you're on Apple Podcasts, then please consider leaving a 5-star review. Just rate and review the show, right? Rating takes a split second. You just click that 5-star button, and then the review, if you want to, give me some feedback. Again, I love feedback. It just makes us better. And hey, if you think that you have like a runner or a biker or a swimmer friend or someone, right? I've had a few of my biker friends say, "Hey, this has been a cool podcast." I had a swimmer friend say the same thing. Like, this isn't just for runners, all right? So share this. Share this with anyone. All it does is help podcast grow, help me get some more confidence. I can tell you guys even more and more. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you guys next time on Running for Life. Peace out.